Carrabelle, Florida, a small coastal city in Franklin County along the Gulf of Mexico, has a rich and varied history shaped by its natural environment, indigenous inhabitants, and waves of settlers and industries. Located on the Florida Panhandle, often referred to as the Forgotten Coast, Carrabelle's story begins thousands of years ago and continues to evolve as a quiet fishing village with deep historical roots. The area that would become Carrabelle was first inhabited by indigenous peoples as far back as 5,000 years ago. Archaeological evidence suggests that Native American tribes, including the Pensacola, Apalachicola, and Appalachee, thrived along the region's rivers and bays. The Carrabelle River and surrounding wetlands provided abundant resources: fish, turtles, mussels, deer, and wild plants like hickory nuts and persimmons, while fertile soils supported agriculture, such as corn. These waterways also served as trade routes, connecting the area to distant regions, with evidence of traded goods like copper from the Great Lakes and marine shells exported northward. European contact began in the 16th century when Spanish explorers, including Pánfilo de Narváez in 1528, passed through the region on their way from Tampa Bay to the Rio Grande. In the late 17th and early 18th centuries, Carrabelle, along with nearby Dog Island and St. George Island, served as staging points for raids on local ports in San Marcos de Appalachia. However, permanent European settlement came later. In 1876, Oliver Hudson Kelley, a Massachusetts native and one of the founders of the Grange, established the town, naming it Rio Carrabelle after his niece, Caroline Hall. The following year, in 1877, the first U.S. post office opened with Hall as its inaugural postmistress. The town was officially incorporated on December 24, 1881, and later chartered by the Florida legislature in May 1893. Carrabelle's first economic boom came after the Civil War, driven by its natural deep-water port and the lumber and naval stores industries. In 1875, the first lumber mill was established, harvesting pine and cypress from the surrounding swamps and shipping them north and overseas. By the late 19th century, the port was bustling, with docks piled high with lumber and barrels of turpentine. In 1891, the Carrabelle, Tallahassee and Georgia Railroad, later part of the Georgia, Florida and Alabama Railroad, connected the town to Tallahassee and beyond, boosting trade and bringing tourists to the area's beaches. The railroad's endpoint at Carrabelle featured a train depot that doubled as a ferry dock, linking the isolated St. James Island to Apalachicola and street marks until bridges were built in the 1930s. During this period, Carrabelle reportedly outpaced all other Florida ports in ship traffic in 1899 and 1900. However, this prosperity was interrupted on August 1, 1899, when a powerful hurricane nearly destroyed the town, leaving only 9 homes standing. The early 20th century saw recovery and new developments. The downtown area shifted to its current location after the hurricane, and key infrastructure emerged, including the Crooked River Lighthouse, built in 1895 to replace earlier, storm-damaged lighthouses on Dog Island. This 103-foot beacon guided mariners through the treacherous pass between Dog and St. George Islands until its decommissioning in 1995. The steamship Tarpon, operating from 1902 to 1937, was vital to the community, connecting Carrabelle to other coastal towns until it sank in a storm off Panama City. During Prohibition, some locals turned to bootlegging, smuggling liquor from the Caribbean, adding a colorful chapter to the town's history. World War II marked a significant turning point. In 1942, the U.S. Army established Camp Gordon Johnston, initially called Camp Carrabelle, to train over 250,000 soldiers in amphibious warfare, including preparations for the D-Day invasion of Normandy. Spanning 165,000 acres of forest and beach, the camp utilized Carrabelle Beach, formerly McKissack Beach, for assault training. It closed in 1946, but its legacy endures, commemorated by the Camp Gordon Johnston World War II Museum. During the war, Carrabelle also played a role in oil transport, shipping fuel from Texas via the Intracoastal Waterway to Jacksonville for delivery to Europe. Post-war Carrabelle returned to its roots as a fishing community, with shrimping, oystering, and recreational fishing sustaining the economy alongside tourism. The town's quirky claim to fame, the world's smallest police station, a phone booth installed in the 1960s, became a tourist draw, though the original was damaged by vandals and Hurricane Kate in 1985 and is now housed in the Carrabelle History Museum. Nearby Tate's Hell State Forest, named after a local legend about Sebe Tate's harrowing 1875 ordeal in the swamp, adds to the area's mystique. Today, Carrabelle remains a small, laid-back community of about 2,600 residents, as of 2020, preserving its old Florida charm. Its history of resilience, through storms, economic shifts, and wartime contributions, reflects a town shaped by its environment and the diverse peoples who have called it home, from indigenous tribes to modern fishermen.